What is going on, Crimson City? My name is Crimson CBAD, bringing you guys our Week 10 Team Builder in APA. Your Detroit Steelwings are going up against Coach A-Drive and the St. Louis Rampardos. I love my boy Dan. I'm always looking forward to a matchup against him. The link to his channel, of course, will be in the description. You guys, if you guys aren't subscribed to A-Drive, go show him some love. Fantastic content creator. He is a very, very impressive record in the league, in league format in general, but in this league specifically, he's got a very, very terrifying team, and hopefully we've got the goods to bring him down, bring him to justice. Let's talk about his team first. His two Z captains are Celesteela and Mimikyu. You guys see his team above me, so I'm not going to spoil it by saying all that. But first up, he's got Celesteela, a great steel flying type Pokemon with the Beast Boost ability. It can be run physically offensive, physically defensive, specially offensive, specially defensive. It's a nightmare to deal with, especially if it gets a Beast Boost or 2 up. Very, very nightmarish to deal with. Como has been putting in a lot of work for him with the Dragon Dance set. It also can set up with things like Autotomize. It can be run physically offensive. It can be run specially offensive. It is a great Pokemon in the format, like on paper. I feel like it's got the bulletproof ability, the soundproof ability, or the overcoat ability. He's been putting in a lot of work with Como. Wouldn't be surprised to see that thing come. He's got the Mimikyu, like I said, his other Z captain, which has the disguise ability, built-in Focus Sash, if we can get around that with a Mold Breaker Pokemon. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Can Swords Dance. It's a Life Orb setter. It can Will-O-Wisp. It can Destiny Bond. Like, it can't just be off. It doesn't have to be offensive. It can be, you know, supportive as well with things like Will-O-Wisp and Destiny Bond too, so that's something not to sleep on. Obviously, it's got the Let's Snuggle Forever. It can run Ghost DMZ, all that fun stuff as well. Nidoking is a very hard-hitting poison ground type Pokemon with the Sheer Force ability, nullifying the secondary effects of its moves by giving it a built-in Life Orb. Tossing a Life Orb on top of that as well just makes it hits so much harder than it already does. It can set up Stealth Rocks. I believe it can set up Toxic Spikes, if I'm not mistaken, as well. It's specially offensive, it's physically offensive, very, very scary Pokemon. Would anticipate Nidoking to come. He's got the Araquanid, a very bulky water type Pokemon, water bug type with the water bubble ability, boosting its water type moves while giving it a burn immunity and nerfing fire type damage as well. Instead of sticky webs, can trap with things like infestation, can liquidate, can lunge. I mean, toss off toxics as well. I mean, this thing hits so very, very hard. He's got the Celebi, base 100s across the board, grass psychic type with the natural cure ability. It can set up stealth rocks. It can toss statuses around. It can nasty plot. It can swords dance. It can baton pass. It's a very scary Pokemon to go up against depending on the set should he bring it. Lycanroc Dusk is a Pokemon that I have in GBA that I was like, it'll come every now and then. And when I had to prep against it, I was like, wow, I really hope all of my opponents had this hard of a time, because Lycanroc Dusk just hits so hard. It's got a great speed tier, 110 base speed, Tough Claws ability, boosting its physical contact moves. Can set up rocks, it can Swords Dance, it's got Priority Stab and Accelerock, it can Crunch, it can Sucker Punch, it can Fire Fang, it can Stone Edge. I mean, it is just an absolute nightmare to go up against. We've got a little bit of a thing to kind of help with that, but we got to kind of scout and see what its moves are first. He's got the Cresselia, which has recently been the defensive backbone of his team, and I feel like we've got a good way of working around that this week. I feel like the two defensive bonds coming would be things like Cresselia and things like Lantern. But very physically bulky and specially bulky. 120 base defense, 130 base special defense. Got the Levitate, giving it a ground immunity. We've got an answer for that. Can Calm Mind, Psyshock through teams if you don't have the right prep. Can just sub-Calm Mind all over teams and just win. That's how you win with a Cresselia. He's got Torkoal, which is his Sunsetter, very bulky, physically defensive Pokemon. Lava Plume, Solar Beam, Stealth Rocks, Rapid Spin, stuff like that. He's got the Lantern. It can be a Volt Absorb user or a Water Absorb user. I would anticipate on my team it would be a Volt Absorb user if he does bring it, just to keep Galvantula from tossing Thunders around. Because it can be so specially defensive. Obviously, like an AV set can do a lot of work. Because Gyarados, like, I feel like Araquanid handles Gyarados pretty well just based off how bulky it is, and it can lunge and lower my attack in case I feel like Dragon Dancing on it. But that's why I feel like if Lantern comes, it's going to be Volt Absorb. I think it's going to be like Lantern and Cresselia are his defensive core. Lantern, Cresselia, Torkoal, Mega Houndoom, Lycanroc, and Como are like what I would anticipate. Just looking at the team, that's what I would say would show up to the squad. Yeah, it can Heal Bell though if he's not like AV. Obviously, it can run like the Rindo Berry for Energy Ball and things like that. Mega Houndoom is so... Dan's been using so good. Dan's one of my favorite low-tier Mega users. He used Mega Absol and WBE, and I was a fan, and now he's using Mega Houndoom, and it's so cool. 115 base speed with the Solar Power ability. Once Torkoal sets the sun for Mega Houndoom, it just comes in and claims a kill with 140 base special attack, and it can be run physical with things like Sucker Punch, Flame Charge, and Pursuit as well. Dark Pulse, Fire Blast, Solar Beam, all that fun stuff. Tech Hidden Powers if needed, but once the sun's up with Solar Power, man, you really like... You don't need a like, what's a resistance berry, man? What is a resistance berry? You don't even need the tech in power. You just go for your stab moves at that point. Some things to note on his team. He's got rockers in the form of Nidoking, Celebi, and Torkoal. A Toxic Spike set in the form of Nidoking. His only form of hazard removal is the Torkoal. Keep that in mind. We'll talk about that later. Keep that in mind. The only way of rapid spinning is with the Torkoal. He has no defoggers. And the Celebi can be a heal beller or a healing wish user. So let's talk about our team. First up here, Bunker is coming back. She is Choice Scarf with the skill link ability, Icicle Spear, Rapid Spin, Rock Blast, and Spikes. 76 in HP, 252 attack, 4 in defense, 4 in special defense, 172 in speed with a jolly nature. With this, we are outspeeding, excuse me, let me edit this really quickly. I have it wrong on my doc. I have it wrong on my document. That's not good. And then we are outspeeding everything on his team. We outspeed Mega Houndoom by 1 point, so he will need a Scarf for out faster than his Houndoom in order to outpace us. Icicle Spear, I mean, we can talk a little bit about Cloyster here really quickly, just looking at his team. Nope, that's not the one that I wanted. I wanted this one. There we go. Talk a little bit about what he's got on his team. So something like Como-O. Como-O, Icicle Spear kills it. If he's not Yachi Berry, if he's just like a max special attack or max physical attack, if he's not physically invested, Icicle Spear kills that. The Mimikyu, Icicle Spear has a chance to kill that too if we can get some chip damage or knock its disguise off first. If he has the Nidoking goes down to this thing. Absolutely every time, 141 to 173. Araquanid doesn't want to take a Rock Blast. Not at all. Yeah, Rock Blast, if he's got, like, so here's the thing. Rock Blast has a chance to kill. If we can get some spikes up, though, that would be really, really nice. Celebi doesn't want to take a Icicle Spear as well, I would imagine. Yeah, Icicle Spear, 122 to 125 to Celebi if he's not invested. Lycanroc is probably the biggest threat to this team, but Icicle Spear does have a chance. Like, Accelerock does 28 to 35 to this thing. If we can get some chip damage, Icicle Spear just kind of runs through his team once we can wear down his team just enough. Torkoal obviously not wanting to take a Rock Blast. Rock Blast actually, wow, Torkoal, you're bulky. Rock Blast has a chance to 2-hit KO. Fun fact. Something like Lantern. I'm not even gonna go for I'm not even gonna calc the Mega Houndoom just because Rock Blast has does a good chunk of damage to that thing if he does come in. Volt Switch obviously kills us. I wouldn't stay in on the Volt Switch on that thing, but that is Cloyster. I definitely think it's part of our win condition this week. That is 100% for sure. Being able to spin away hazards too, that could plague our team if he does get them up, if he does get up rocks, if he gets up T-spikes as well. Being able to spin those away will be really, really nice. Spike's putting a ton of work to his team, man. We've got ways of dealing with Cresselia, but Spike's put in an absolute ton of work to his team. And I am hoping that is the case this week with Cloyster. Next up here, we have Excadrill, Serrated Rock, and the Shukaberry, the Sand Rush ability, Earthquake, Toxic, Stealth Rock, and Rock Slide, 164 in defense, 108 in special defense, 236 in speed with a jolly nature. So, you would typically be like Crimson CBAD, like he has a Cresselia with Levitate, he has a Mimikyu with Disguise. Why would you not run Mold Breaker? That's not what Excadrill is for this week. Excadrill is here to toxic things that could otherwise be an annoyance, because he would assume that I would, obviously he'll see the Mold Breaker that I don't have it, but something like Iron Head, you know, the Mimikyu doesn't want to take, the Cresselia doesn't want to take a, Earthquake or something like that. We can set up our rocks on his team, which is really, really cool. We can toxic things like our speeds here actually sets us 1 point higher than Como-O, the Nidoking, and the Cresselia. We've got a lot of bulk, so we can take some moves. We can take like an Accelerock from Lycanroc Dusk. We can toxic his fatter mons, like I said, like Como-O, like Mimikyu, like Celebi, like Araquanid, or not Celebi. Well, yeah, Celebi, I guess, but Celebi could be faster than us. But the Cresselia especially. Rock Slide is good. Rock Slide hits the Araquanid super effectively. Obviously hits the Mega Houndoom. Rock Slide also has a chance to flinch. The special defense does help us out a little bit with things like the Cresselia if he wants to like Moonblast us or like Ice Beam us, just because we already have an impressive HP stat. Like I said, the defense helps out with things like the Lycanroc Dusk. 236 in speed. In the sand, we are outspeeding a ton of stuff, and like I said, uninvested, we are outspeeding, bulkier threats like Como-O, like the Cresselia as well. We can put those things on a timer. Being able to get rocks up will be really cool too. They pressure Araquanid, they pressure Torkoal, and they've really put a ton of pressure on his team in general. If we can hazard stack effectively, take advantage of the fact that he only has one form of hazard removal, very, very nice. Very, very nice. Next up here, Hella, the Mega Tyranitar, Dragon Dance, Facade, Stone Edge, and Ice Punch, 92 in HP, 252 attack, 164 in speed with a Jolly Nature. So we talked about like, oh, but Mimikyu can toss off, you know, Will-O-Wisps. You know, we talked about some status inflictions that his team could put up. We do outspeed his entire team at +1, which is nice. Stone Edge hits a lot of things. Ice Punch hits the Coma-O. Facade, if burnt, hits a lot of things. And if I'm not burnt, it's still a base 70 power move coming off 164 base attack. Which absolutely just is terrifying. Being able to set the sand from Mimikyu is really nice. Being able to take away the sun from Mega Houndoom is also really, really cool. Being able to switch in on that monster in general, man. This also kind of helps with our natural bulk, deal with Lycanroc, just because if it gets out of control, hopefully Tyranitar can come in and just kind of, you know, deal with it. While we don't have a move to super effectively hit it, it does only have 65 base defense, so it won't appreciate these moves coming off a max, or a, yeah, 252 attack Tyranitar. So after hazards, if Cloyster goes down, we can set up with Mega Tyranitar and hopefully bring home the W as well. I think it's got a lot of potential this week. Speaking of potential, Tree Branch the Golbat, Eviolite with Infiltrator, Taunt Roost, Brave Bird, and Super Fang, 244 in HP, 44 in defense, 220 in speed with a Jolly Nature. Again, this is to outspeed Coma-O, the Nidoking, and the Cresselia. Taunting the Cresselia is going to be very nice. If he wants to Ice Beam or Psyshock, like cool, with Eviolite, we take that because of our bulk. We Brave Bird the Araquanid, we Brave Bird the Celebi, we Brave Bird the Coma-O. We can Roost off damage, we can Super Fang and wear down things like the Cresselia in case we, like, so, we click Super Fang, or we click Taunt, he can't recover or sub or anything. We Super Fang on a switch, we Super Fang on him trying to stay in and be offensive against us as well, which is really, really nice. Next up here, Sash Galvantula. Argiop is coming with the Focus Sash, the Unnerve ability. No Compound Eyes, obviously. Unnerve is a lot better for the tech berries that he might bring. Thunderbolt hits the Celesteela, Thunderbolt hits the Araquanid, Thunderbolt hits the Lantern if he is a Water Absorb. Sticky Webs are very nice. They help speed control his team. They help out with things like Lycanroc. They help out with things like a Dragon Dance and Coma-O. They help out with things like Mimikyu. They help out against things like Mega Houndoom as well, with his only Rapid Spinner being Torkoal. You know, we got to take advantage of that as much as we can. Being able to set up Sticky Webs can be very, very nice. If he does get up hazards, we will need to spin them away with Cloyster beforehand, just so our Focus Sash is intact. Bug Buzz obviously super effectively hits the Celebi. Hidden Power Ground hits the Nidoking, it hits the Lycanroc, and it hits the Mega Houndoom. Energy Ball was also an option, but Hidden Power Ground just worked out more. It hit more things on his team overall. We've got you know, max special attack and Unnerve if he does have like Shookaberry on. Oh, and Hidden Power Ground also hits the Lantern as well. So if he's like Bolt Absorb thing, I can't touch him. I can go for a Hidden Power Ground just for some chip damage. Shookaberry on Nidoking as well for the Excadrill. We can Unnerve through that, and like I said, super effectively hitting the Mega Houndoom as well. So that is that. As far as our speeds here goes, the Galvantula, we are outspeeding Celebi by 1 point. We will be able to do a ton of damage to that thing with Bug Buzz, which is very, very nice. Leading with this thing first turn is also an option. It was either lead Cloyster, pick up an early kill, or lead Galvantula and get an early kill. So that was the two things right here. And then last but not least, we have Wintergreen, the Latios, lefties with the leftovers. Roost, Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, and Psychic, 252 in HP, 196 in defense, 60 in speed with a Timid Nature. Again, outspeeding things like the Cresselia, the Coma-O, and the Nidoking if they are not Scarfed. Defensively, this helps us take a Dragon Claw or an Outrage from Coma-O. Helps us take on hits from Lycanroc as well. Thunderbolt and Psychic was just really, really good. Thunderbolt hits the Celesteela, Psychic hits the Coma-O, Psychic hits Mimikyu, Psychic hits the Nidoking, Thunderbolt hits the Araquanid, Psychic hits the Celebi. I might go Ice Beam. Actually, that's the play. Bolt Beam coverage. Bolt Beam coverage. We'll go Ice Beam. Ice Beam hits the Celebi. Thunderbolt hits the Lycanroc Dusk. Thunderbolt hits the Cresselia. Thunderbolt hits the Torkoal. Volt Absorb Lantern still hurts this thing, but I can Calm Mind all in its face. And then Thunderbolt hits the Mega Houndoom as well. So a lot of bulk on this thing, being able to take hits, being able to sponge them, being able to get up a Calm Mind. Longevity between leftovers and Roost is really, really nice as well. So that is our team going up against Dan, aka A-Drive. I hope you guys have enjoyed this team builder. If you guys have, show some love on that like button down below. Of course, if you're new, feel free to hit that subscribe button as well. All that being said, I'll remind you guys to be great and do great. I'm gonna let this outro bang. I'm gonna talk to y'all soon. Later.